despite the world seeming to be more civilized and more sophisticated, the crime rates have really hit all-time highs across the board. It's every day you hear of more murders, more pedophilia, more horrible things. But yet, despite all of that, one of the main things that has hit the news more times than others, and in fact has captured the attention of the Jewish world more than many other things have, are the comments of the mentally ill Kanye West. The question is Kanye West correct? Is this something that it really is truly correct what he said? Of course, he said anti-Semitic remarks, but is he correct? I actually made a short little video on TikTok discussing this in just a couple of minutes, but of course we'll discuss it further with much more important details in this shiur, because one of the main things that people don't realize is that there is a continuous mistake that anti-Semites make, especially the modern day anti-Semites, like Kanye West and like the others that are celebrities that hate us. And that mistake is their misunderstanding of what a Jew is. You see, Kanye West, when he made the comments that he made about how he has all this bad history with the Jewish people and how they control Hollywood and they control the media and they control the stories, and he can't find a movie that he wants to hear about one of the historically significant people from African American descent, but yet you can find many stories about the Jewish people, which, immediately in my mind, I thought to myself, he claims to have so much money. Why don't you just make the movie, you idiot, instead of complaining about not having the movie? But apparently that didn't go into his little mind. Yet he got so much attention for his anti-Semitic remarks that the Jewish world at large is literally losing their mind. And yet I've yet to hear anybody actually address what he said, as far as the whether it actually has validity or not. Because the truth is, it does have validity, meaning that he's obviously not right for being anti-Semitic, but he is right about the things that he's saying. Which, to elaborate on that, is that the mistake that Kanye West and many other idiots like him make is that they assume that all Jews are alike. So he thinks that the Jews that he met in Hollywood, the lefty liberal, anti-Torah, anti-God, atheist, communist mentality, pedophiles, immoral people, adulterers, thieves, and all types of horrible people, which are more like the people of Sodom than they are like the people of Mount Sinai. But he believes that those people that he met in his life, because surely he's not close to anyone that's really a Jew that learns Torah, so he thinks that they are the Jews. They are the Jews, and therefore, since they are the Jews, this is his opinion on them. Now, quite frankly, anyone that has been listening to my shiurim for at least the last few years knows that we speak against those very same Jewish people on a regular basis as an obligation that the Torah has on us, that we have to do that, because a Jew is not supposed to be unethical. A Jew is not supposed to be immoral. A Jew is not supposed to be an adulterer, and certainly a Jew is not supposed to take advantage of the weak. And in fact, if you actually get to know real Jews by going to a kollel, going to a yeshiva, seeing someone delve into the Torah and sacrifice their life, their time, their energy, their everything into learning the words of God, into serving God, then you realize there is literally a world of difference between the real Jews and the Jews that he simply has a problem with. And what he doesn't realize, and the many others like him don't realize, is that they're not describing the Jews, they're simply describing their own environment, because everyone around them is like that, not just the Jews. Whether the guy has an Italian background or a Greek background or an Arab background or whatever other background, if he's in a Hollywood crowd, if he's in a celebrity world, if he's in a materialistic world, if he's a gangster rapper, if he's all of these different things, that's his attitude, that's his morale, that's his ideology. Simply kill or be killed, survival of the fittest. And the behavior that is around him is simply by everyone, but he wants to pick on the Jews because, of course, his little mind says that's the target. Because, of course, it's a way for a Kadosh Baruch Hu to remind us to ask ourselves, are we really Jews or are we part of the fakers? Are we really closer to being the people of Sodom and Gomorrah or the people that were chosen at Mount Sinai? And the reality is that anyone that actually met real Jews that are Torah observant, that keep Shabbat, and learn Torah on a regular basis and live their life in accordance to the Torah has no idea what this guy is talking about if he's describing all of our people. Because if you go to a kollel, you go to a yeshiva, they don't even know what you're talking about. Stealing from people? Chas v'shalom. Adultery? Chas v'shalom. Taking advantage of people? Chas v'shalom. Being unethical? Chas v'shalom. We're not going to go to Gehenom for any amount of money. We're not going to go to Gehenom for anything that's God says not to do. So if you look at the real Jewish people, which are the very same ones that began with Avraham Avinu, that received the Torah at Mount Sinai 3,300 years ago from Moshe Rabbeinu at Mount Sinai, all of these things, if you compare those people to the people that he's comparing it to, there is no comparison. We're nothing alike. In fact, the only reason why there are Jews in the world today, both secular and religious, is because of those very same Jews that sacrificed their life learning Torah throughout all of the generations. Because all of the ones that were secular and remained secular and had secular children certainly lost their connection to Judaism within 1 or 2 generations once they assimilated and started marrying the Goyim. But of course, Kanye West never did any of that history. He's too bombarded with all types of clever ideas in order for him to actually think for more than a second. And of course, he has some mental illnesses too. But nonetheless, it's not Kanye West that we have a problem, but rather we have a problem with not realizing what is a Jew. Most people, including religious Jews, don't realize that there is a world of difference between the secular Jew that the world knows and the religious Jew that the world doesn't necessarily know. And of course, there are always those fake religious ones that dress the part, look the part, but are even worse than the secular part. So of course, those are always the different messengers that the Yetzer Hara will send to cause even more confusion. But one of the things that I learned when I was on Wall Street for nearly 2 decades, making all types of investments, literally making nearly $1 billion in business. So not income, but business, transactions. And we had an enormous amount of opportunities run at us every single day. All types of things flying right, flying left, going up, going down. And one of the things that I learned throughout all of those years is that the most valuable asset, the most valuable commodity, you can call it, that a person can have in that career and in fact in life, aside from time, is information. Information. Why? Because when you have the correct information, you can make the right decisions. When you don't have the correct information, certainly you're more likely to make the wrong decision. The problem is not regarding whether you have the correct information or not having the correct information, because that's usually easy to tell. The problem is controlling yourself while you don't have all of the information, because that is certainly going to lead you to the wrong decision. So one of the things that Kanye West made as a mistake is that he simply doesn't have all of the information. The question is, are we doing the same exact thing with our lives? And we're going to go through a few things in our Holy Torah to see what kind of predisposition do we have? What kind of conscience do we have? What kind of mindset do we have? What kind of inner voice do we have that's going to tell us what is the story? What is the conclusion without necessarily having all of the information?